Welcome back to SYNLAB Podcast. We have been addressing the crisis of antibiotic abuse. We have done 3 episodes already, and this is the 4th one. In the first one, we talked about antibiotic abuse. The second one, implications of antibiotics resistance. And we also talked about innovative approaches to antibiotics management. Now we'll be dealing with antibiotic abuse proper. I'm still your host, Uchenna Amadi, and with the amiable Dr. Afolabi Obe, the Chief Medical Officer of SYNLAB Nigeria. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and follow SYNLAB Nigeria on YouTube and Spotify. Dr. Obe, we have talked a lot and it has been very exciting.
Well, and it's also been exciting being with you.
The stories are making it like real and practical. Now I'm officially scared of abusing antibiotics.
Well, I think
because I see
maybe
you.
one of them has been achieved. And I'm sure our listeners too. I mean, if that will make them too.
Of course.
I think it's a good one.
Of course. So,
but it's been exciting
yes,
being with you
I
here.
couldn't agree more. Very eye-opening.
Right.
And we've even talked about the strategies that we can employ to educate patients. You know, you talked about the policies and regulations where you mentioned something about antibiotic stewardship.
Right, we did.
And national policy on antibiotics.
Oh, right.
So,
I mentioned that.
Yes. So I want to ask, how effective are these existing policies?
You are setting me up. How effective are they?
Yes.
Okay, number one, a disclaimer. I am not an assessor. But of course, I'm a Nigerian. And I've been around for a while. I'm a doctor, a practicing doctor.
Yes.
You know, and I'm also a trained microbiologist.
Yes.
If we want to be honest with ourselves, we will say that the level of effectiveness, I will say, is still under 30%. However, I will say that in the last 3 to 5 years, we've made a lot of improvements from where we used to be. So I hope that we can continue as a country faster than the pace we are now. Then we can start to say that we're seeing dividends of all these policies. I can speak to you that I know quite a number of hospitals that are already institutionalized antibiotic stewardship.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of them are, trying to set it up. Some are not even doing at all. Right. So it's still a lot of work to be done. But to say how effective, I will say some maximum of 30%. So we still have a lot. And see, the dilemma is this. Even places where they have institutionalized all the various policies to combat antibiotic resistance, they still have issues. Not to talk of us, that all the indices, we are still around the red zone, not even at the yellow zone, right? And not to now talk of the green zone. So it's still a long way to go. I mean, I honestly, I think I would just want to keep my answer in that way. Still a lot of work to do. Permit me.
There's always room for improvement.
Permit me. Before some agencies will come and say somebody's... we are quick to say people are being political. So let me leave it at that.
Okay. Thank you very much for that response. Okay, so I'd like to know what recommendations can be made to strengthen regulatory frameworks and enforcement mechanisms. What can you recommend to strengthen these regulatory frameworks?
Honestly, I will say that the agencies of government, starting from the national governments and the state governments, the agencies of government that are saddled with this responsibility should be empowered. Right. You need them to be able to say, oh, this institution, you have not given us your antibiotics audit in the last 6 months.
Wow.
Place a sanction on them. Right? Now, at the hospital level, the executive officers managing the hospitals should also strengthen their antibiotic stewardship committee Right. In such that all the consultants and the doctors within the hospital, we know that these people, they have a role to play. Because, for example, if you make maybe a pharmacist the head of the antibiotic stewardship committee.
Yes.
Maybe because of his training, one senior pharmacist or one very old consultant would say, no, you cannot be the one giving me instructions. You know for how many years I've been practicing. But if that person is empowered and everybody knows that, see, this is what is meant to do, we respect him for that. Right.
Sure.
So for me, that would be my recommendation.
So I like how you, each time I ask, you start from the national, then you just keep cascading it down. It means that at every level, there is work to be done.
There is work to be done, absolutely.
There is work to
Absolutely.
be done. So now that you've even gone that route, let me still ask, for emphasis sake, how can stakeholders at local now, I know you've done national, or you can even include international too, how can stakeholders at local, national, and international levels collaborate to address the crisis of this antibiotic abuse comprehensively?
Well, fantastic question. Honestly, fantastic question. And for me, this is the bedrock of it all. You know, you remember in one of our series, we mentioned that the world is a global village.
Yes.
And from one end of the world to another, we are just a flight away.
Of course.
In fact, COVID taught us a lesson.
Yes.
That the world is a global village.
Yes.
It started from somewhere in legs and 2, 3.
It has.
What have you? It's everywhere.
It has gone round.
Right. So it means that at the international level, national level, subnational level, and hospital and individual level, we have a role to play.
Yes.
At the international level, what do I think it's important? Support and strengthening.
Okay.
Right. The people who have done well, can they support people who are coming up by, what has worked in their settings? They can support them to work at other settings.
Sure.
For example, for me, I will emphasize laboratory support. They call Nigeria low resource. They call us resource limited nation. But I usually don't like that nomenclature. I prefer to say we are resource maldistributed nation. We have resources.
Yes.
But we don't distribute our resources appropriately. So, but then, as long as they're calling us by that nomenclature, can they give us support, laboratory support in all of this? Fantastic laboratory support. So, at the international level, there should be one policies, global policy on antibiotic resistance.
Sure.
Now, at the global space, they need to go back into production of newer molecules to combat this.
Wow.
Right. Need to pump money into global research. Right. Find out more why we're having this resistance, then how can we combat this resistance? At the national level, maybe they should strengthen hospitals to have microbiology laboratory support. Right. Then, like I've mentioned before, at the national level, insurance should be optimal. At the hospital level, antibiotic stewardship and every other policies should be intact. And then the NGOs should do lots of education. People need to be educated on what we stand to lose if we continue to handle antibiotics. Because as we speak, there is so much of antibiotics abuse. Misuse, like we have said, low dose use, high dose use,
yes,
over duration use, low duration, and all sorts. So these are the things I think we could do at the international, national, subnational, and at the individual space.
Wow. Dr. Obe, I must say that this has been very impactful.
Well, you are the one asking the questions.
And very edifying.
I'm tempted to say that
least.
Where are you getting all these questions from? You practically can put someone on the spot.
So because a lot of us out there need to hear this. They need to hear this.
And again, I think it's also important we should thank SYNLAB for pushing this out to people.
Of course.
People need to know. And we are also doing the work of NGOs.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
People need to know this.
Yes.
Right. So thank you to SYNLAB.
Yes. Very many thanks to SYNLAB Nigeria. And we have come to the end of this enriching journey on SYNLAB podcast.
So finally, I'm free.
Yes. We hope today has been a source of good information for you. If you have learned a lot, please share with your friends and family. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share, and follow SYNLAB Nigeria on YouTube and on Spotify. You can also follow SYNLAB Nigeria across all social media platforms. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Uchenna Amadi, and I'm signing out.